Hi guys, please make sure that you do not skip over this intro. I mean it, don't skip over the intro. Because if you do, I'm going to be talking about you and you won't know it. Okay? So we have so many things to talk about. I've actually been I was a little busy past couple of days. Normally, you guys know I try to get them up on this weekly up on Thursday, but it just wasn't happening. But at the same time, I was like, I really need to collect my thoughts because there's so much to talk about. So, one of the things that happens, and the reason why I said don't skip the intro, is I'm getting a lot of people who are like, how do I get a personal reading? How do I get a personal reading? Well, I'm not going to answer you. So here's me being very real with you. Oh my God, how dare you? Well, here it comes, okay? I'm not going to answer you because if you're impatient and you keep skipping ahead, this isn't going to be the case for everybody, but in a lot of cases, just from the experience I've had in this work that I'm doing, those people tend to have a very... they just give me the bottom line. They don't want to do the deep level soul work, or they just are disempowered, which we're also going to talk about too, and they just want to hurry up and get their answers so that they can feel satisfied because they're so disempowered they can't make decisions for themselves, so they're trying to get to the message really, really quickly. Well, if you want a personal reading, again, I say it right in the beginning, and if you're going to choose to skip over this, you also tend to be the people who don't honor my process, who are coming to me and saying, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, can you put me ahead of everybody else? Hey, my thing's more important than anybody else's, read for me first. And then they want to ask what would be more like psychic reading kind of questions. They're not understanding that these are not psychic readings. These are more like spiritual counseling readings. That's the way I approach it, okay? And that's how the angels work. They're not going to hold your hand. They love you. They're going to support you, but it's like, a good parent isn't going to go in there and just, do everything they can to spoil their child and make their kid, you know what I'm saying? Like have to depend on others. They're going to, stand back and let them learn things, guide them, but let them learn on their own. And again, that's how the angels work. So I've been recently getting, it's like a very strange energy in the air, but I'm getting people who are getting demanding. They want, phone consultations like immediately. And I don't have to explain myself. I have my business structure. I do it for good reason. I have a whole list of reasons why I do readings the way that I do. And as a matter of fact, not that I invented this, but there are other people that weren't offering, MP3 readings, and then I saw one, when they saw that it was working for me, a lot of those people were reaching out to me and saying, how do you send those MP3s? How do you do it? Does this work? Do your clients react well? I'm not really a competitive person, not in that way, and I'm happy to share because I firmly believe that I am the appropriate messenger for some people, but not for everybody. Okay, so please honor my process, and if you want a reading, once again, angelsouls444.com, say it with me now, the services tab. I also put it in the description box below. I have it across the screen. Maybe I'll put it in twice this time. I don't know. If I remember, I'll put it in twice. But I always have it there. Okay? Let's come back to that point on readings because we're going to talk this week. I mean, it's going to be big. Cards, I don't even know if we're going to pull cards. I mean, maybe. I don't know. We're going to have to see. But I'm just going to flow with this and let it go. I don't know if I said this already, but I had to make notes because there's just so many things. I have a P.O. box now. A few of you have been asking about that. I finally, I'm moving yet again. This time I'm extremely happy with my home. I think, I think things are going to improve immensely. And so I felt settled enough to go ahead and get that P.O. box. So if you want that information, if you want to send like an old-fashioned letter instead of an email, I'm with you on that. And I love getting those things. I think letters are so beautiful. I'm a writer, so I think that is so beautiful, the pen to paper. So if you want to do that, just email me at angelsouls444@gmail.com. I will get that information to you. Gumroad. If you want to support me on Patreon, I'll leave that information down below as well. For Gumroad, I am going to suspend the extra readings. That whole thing has confounded me quite a lot. Like these videos take a long time. Like today I'm going to be recording all the April ones, and then I have to edit them and get them loaded. I mean, again, it takes days. And so I was doubling the workload and trying to give people an option so that if you couldn't afford a personal reading, you could spend $2.99 and get an extra video for that month and maybe get a little more info if that's what you wanted to do, if that's what worked for you. But all I was getting was complaints, really. or saying I can't afford $2.99. I don't know. I guess they expect all that for free. Like, I have to sustain myself, right? Or I can't do this work. And it's not easy to be a freelancer. You know, some months are really, really great. And other times it's like, do I go get a regular job? Like, what's going on here? Because, you know, it's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have times that are very, very slow. So it almost, you know, just as a human, just being real with you, it made me feel very underappreciated. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm putting days and days of work into this. The videos are only $2.99 each, and you're still complaining about the cost. And do you know what I'm saying? Like, I deserve, like everybody, to be compensated for my time and my energy. And, you know, because people are, and there's been a lot of complaints about, Gumroad, but when I was on Vimeo, I don't want to invalidate the complaints about Gumroad, but when it was Vimeo, it was like a lot of IT problems. People were saying customer service was rude to me. They were not helpful. And I experienced that myself, where I was not getting the appropriate help from Vimeo. They would often send people to me about IT stuff. Like, how am I supposed to help these people? I don't know. It's a Vimeo thing. So I just had all those problems. So I switched over to Gumroad. I personally have never had problems with it. Other people seem to really, really like it, but I still have those people who are like, oh, I can't see it on my phone, or oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. So the courses, of course, are still going to be there. Now, so if you want to learn how to perceive your angels, you want to learn to read cards, or at least my style, my approach on that, and maybe I can offer some coaching sessions on that if you really want to develop your spiritual business. If you like my style, if you think this would work for you, contact me. It'll be, you know, pricing. We can just work it out on how much you're expecting. But just things like that. So I'm just going to suspend those extra readings. I'm going to tell you, my personal reading requests went down a little bit when I posted those, and I knew that would happen. But even though I wasn't making as much to sustain myself off the personal readings, I still thought it was worth it because people had an alternative. So anyway, we're going to forget those for the time being. This will afford me some opportunity to get to work on those courses that I keep promising you to get those out there. And, you know, when it's not working, you got to let go. Right? So there is that. Yeah, what else do we have to talk about? So I did the P.O. box. Yeah, we did all that. A few weeks ago, I posted on Facebook that if your little one, your son or daughter, watches my videos, if you send me a picture or a video of them watching my video, that I would give them a little shout out in a weekly. So I had somebody respond, and that was, I want to make sure I got this right, Janice, yeah. So Janice Miller, her son's name is Shane. So I want to give a little shout out to Shane. Hi, darling. I'm so happy that you are watching my video. I love you so much. And may you always, always be blessed by the angels. May you always have abundance, prosperity, love, and good health. Okay. And of course, if you want to send me your child watching one of my videos, by all means do it. And again, at that email address. Okay. Or you can do it on Facebook as well. So the other thing I wanted to let you know, and I should have looked this up before I started recording. If you were the one who left me this comment, let me know. Someone came up with this awesome idea, and I had been toying with it, but I didn't know kind of what approach to take. But, you know, just doing videos, giving insights on life stuff, okay? And maybe food for thought, and, you know, just taking on different topics. And someone said that we should call it angel chats. And I thought that was a genius idea, but then when I posted it on Facebook as an idea, people thought that this was going to be even more channeled messages. Again, more of my energy being expended, because channeling's not easy, guys, okay? And I'm not even doing like a full body channel. I mean, this is just, you know, whatever. I know we're like really, really long into this, but hang with me here. And it's still very exhausting. These would not be extra channeled messages. This would just be, again, a chat, like an observation about life, about how we approach our spirituality, you know, things like that. Within those videos too, I will keep these videos clean, again, because I think that I have a younger audience out there. But for a lot of you, you don't know this about me, I use colorful language. And I know everyone's like, oh, but words have an energy. The energy behind the word is only as powerful as your intention. And I know there are studies on that too, but I think an inherent problem with some of those studies with the energy behind a word is that the person who maybe wrote that book or whatever, I'm not talking about the water experiments, I think that's fascinating, but other people have done, you know, their books on words, and It's their perception of that word, right? So if I come at you and let's say, God forbid, but let's say I'm going to use the B word. Okay, I'm not a big fan of that word, but still, let's say I'm going to use it, right? It's a far cry from like someone who, cuts me off in traffic and I honk my horn and they turn around and call me the B word. That has a very different energy than if my girlfriend's like, girl, and they call me the B word and like, don't do that, don't go back to him, or whatever. Again, I don't talk to my girlfriends like that, but some people do. And, I'm kind of a fan of the F-bomb. The F-bomb has protected me in the past, and that's another thing people don't ever think about. When I was living in New York, and I have a guy who's 2 to 3 times my size who's messing with me, if I drop that F-bomb early on in the moment, not only did it shock everybody around me and get their attention, yes, so if I needed help, they could help me, but it showed that person I mean business, and it usually shut things down. Okay, so this whole thing of language being like, we're not allowed to use it in certain circumstances, whatever, I'm not on board with that. So these other videos, if I do go down that road, just be forewarned, there will be language in there. If it does get so severe as like the F word or something like that, I will figure out a way to check off. I think there's a box that I check off where it says over 18. So you'll know not to let your little ones watch that unless you're like mommy and daddy goes around dropping it all the time, use your discretion. So why the heck am I talking about all this? Because I needed to, okay? And we need to be on the same page, because I'm not an effective messenger if you're not an effective listener. Yes. The messages that come out of me are only as good as you're willing to let them land, or as open as you will be. Like we're in a partnership here, okay? So when we're talking about readings, this is part of the message. It's not just for this week. This is just the time that you need to hear this, and it needs to go from now and on, and for you guys to be thinking about this. If you are reaching out to somebody and saying, I need a reading right now, and it has to be done the way I think it should be done. Where do I begin with that? Number one, that's a lot of ego. If you think someone's going to change their process just for you, there's desperation behind that. Now, if I were a bad person, a greedy person, I could work with that. A lot of people do. Because when you're desperate, you're vulnerable, and you're leaving your energy open for someone to come in and take your money and tell you a bunch of nonsense, okay, that will probably scare you into coming back and giving them more money and disempowering you even more, so that you think you can't even make a decision for yourself in your life until you consult with one of these readers. Are you kidding me? Have we met? I preach against this all the time. I would sooner go completely out of business and go work as an executive assistant again than to play into that nonsense. I'm not here to tear down humanity. I'm here to do my teeny tiny little part to try to lift us up. So that's why I say these readings are meant to be uplifting. There can be, sometimes I'll pick up a hit on something, and if I think, I'm getting the okay to share that with you, and you've, opened up and given me permission to give that to you, then I will. But, we cannot just glaze over this, guys. There's a problem here. So much so that I'm like, okay, should I change angel souls? Should it be a different structure? Should I get away from card readings? Because I don't know about all of this. Because people are just getting more and more disempowered. Not all of you, but some people are just falling further and further into that desperate energy. I woke up this morning. Again, I'm in my new home and trying to get it together. So I was sleeping on a stinking air mattress. And you know how that goes, right? By the morning, like you're half sunk onto the floor. I was just talking to a friend about this last night. Anyway, I roll over, and I shouldn't do this, but the first thing I did was I picked up my phone and I checked my email. Again, I don't recommend that. But I did. And there is this woman, I think I know who it is, but I'm not 100%, who was a very big problem client. Oh, yes, I have them. And if you wanted to do coaching with me about a spiritual business, you will get the very real raw end of that discussion and how to handle those people. Because you will. You'll get the people who are so trained to think that, a reading means you tell me what to do with my life. A reading means you tell me my future. This is not fortune telling. No. And see, and people will, I'm all over the place here, but again, hang with me. People will quote the Bible and say that divination is an abomination against God. But I think what that's referring to is some of this, it's that stuff that I was just saying, where someone makes you feel desperate, or you're just feeling desperate, not taking accountability for your own life, and you're leaving yourself wide open. So I think that message was a protection. Now here, yeah, okay, fine, I use divination tools, but maybe that's because humans have gotten so used to that, that the way that we can get you to open up to messages from the angels and like really listen is to have something cute and colorful and pretty and do you know what I mean? Written by somebody who's very gentle and, you know, and everybody knows her, and this Doreen Virtues deck. Do you know what I mean? And she has a very motherly kind of energy. And so people feel very safe with that, right? So I don't personally see what I do as an abomination. My goodness. I would be the last person to do anything against God. Heck no. Even if I got to the other side, I'd be like, God, I misunderstand. Oh my God, I thought you wanted me to do that. Send me back. Send me back. This time, give me a little more guidance. I thought I was doing it correctly, you know. So, you know, don't be afraid of the angels, but just know that there's a different approach here. Yes, we might be using cards, okay? I may not use cards all the time. I'm not going to start getting away from that, but they're here to empower you so that you never feel desperate. You know, empower you so that you can just take a moment and go, okay, I need to reset. Okay, now I'm clear. Now I know what direction to go in. But still, I've been doing this professionally. I've been, you know, hearing angels since I was a kid, but been doing this professionally for 3.5 years. And I still, when I'm still getting people coming and going, I need a reading right now. I need to know what the angels want me to do. Or maybe the way people are wording the questions. Okay, wording it like it's a psychic reading. Why am I not married? Because you're too focused on getting married and you forgot that you have to be in love first. There you go. Now you don't have to get a personal reading. There you go. There's the answer. Or why am I not getting the career that I want? Because you're too greedy. You're too egotistical. You're being, you know, I know that's harsh, but dang, some people, when they're coming at you with that kind of energy, you have to give it to them straight. I mean, you can't tiptoe around because they won't get it, or they'll get mad at you. I'm sorry, I was telling you about this whole like thing on YouTube. I'll get back to that. But you know, this desperation that people are putting around it, you know, they're just taking things the wrong way. And that's what this comment was that I was reading. I was telling you, you know, I woke up and I looked at my phone. I checked my email, and this woman was on there bashing me. I think it was a woman. Again, I'm not really sure who this person is, but bashing me about, oh, she was so off with my reading. And she's basically describing, like, she took it like a psychic reading. She, he, whatever. Took it like a psychic reading. I'm like, okay, you already missed the mark. That's on you. Nope. And there's not much more I can do. I explained at the beginning of every reading, this is, you know, this is not a psychic reading. And still though, like, but that person is still being very disempowered and then trying to tear me down, which is kind of, God bless this person. Because again, anybody who knows, this person's actually protecting me. So if somebody is out there and they're watching my video and they look down and they see that comment from that person saying, oh, Michelle gave me the worst reading. I'm with my soulmate right now. Really? Because you're attacking someone on YouTube. So I highly doubt you're in the frequency to be with your soulmate. But story at 11 on that one. But if somebody reads that and they're like, oh, Michelle's terrible. I believe this person. Thanks. I don't have to read for them. Yes. No more problem clients. Thank you. Goodbye. Go off and do your thing. You can go. That's fine. People are going to unsubscribe probably because of this video. Goodbye. God bless you. I don't want those people here. I said this a long time ago. I want to do the real work. So what I'm doing here, and this is part of the, you know, message too. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but it really is. It's part of the message. Where is this, you know, desperation rising up in you? And instead of doing the real work, you know, like the angels teach us to do the real work for ourselves and to be empowered so that we can, you know, co-create our own little microcosm. We talk about that all the time. Instead of doing that, people are like, just do it for me. Just tell me what to do. Honey, I've been there. I have been there years ago. I'm like, no, for real, just bottom line it for me, because I'm lost and I'm tired and I don't want to think and I don't want to have to grow. But that's not what's best for you. Okay? So really be aware of this. And it may not even be with like a reading scenario. It could be just in your life. You know, are you somebody who has to go and get mommy and daddy's permission? Maybe you're in your 40s and you're still having to check with mommy and daddy to get their approval. Or maybe you're really, you know, you're part of like a, I don't know, like a cliquey little group of friends and you won't date anybody unless you have their blessing. We've got to start thinking for ourselves a little bit here, guys. And it's fine to go chat with your friends and be like, hey, what's your take on this? But remember, at the end of the day, just like with a reading, you can come and get the guidance, but what you do with it is up to you. And if you're going to let your ego get in the way, can't help you, okay? Or if you're going to let other people run your life through their opinions of you and how you should live, good luck, okay? So the other big message that we have to start really, I mean, we'll probably go into this more and more and more, but that would be the conditioning. Again, just because that's how it's always been doesn't mean that's how it should be going forward. If people got so complacent about everything, no change would ever spark. There would never be anything. And we don't have that kind of time anymore. We just don't. Okay? And again, this might be a really big discussion. See if I can be concise about this, but I don't know. Let me start with this. You know, a lot of people want to, you know, with angel souls and me as a person, they want to say, oh, she's in the spirituality community. Not really. Nope. Because I don't believe in a lot of stuff that those people talk about. Oh, she's a new ager. Not really. Nope. Oh, she's kind of religious because she does angels. No. And I'm okay with that. I don't fit in anywhere. Never really have. I've come to terms with it. I've actually come to love it. Because sometimes you're not meant to be stuck in a corner. You're meant to be front and center and to be a leader and to start breaking people's thinking patterns. And I hope I can do well in that. We'll see. Again, at the end of the day, I'm still human. So there's only so much I can do. But yeah, when we're taking, see, what happens with these groups or even political thinking or whatever, it's like you sign up for a group, let's say, or a belief system or whatever. And it's almost like they hand you a pamphlet and be like, okay, if you're going to be one of us, this is how you're going to act. This is what you're going to believe in. These are the people you're going to hate. This is how you divide yourself from here on out, right? And you're never allowed to have any other opinion, you know, so on and so forth. So I have witnessed firsthand so many people coming out of a very conditioned maybe society or whatever kind of like life conditioning, whatever, be it religious or maybe they just never were spiritual at all. They never were in touch with their spirit. And now they're coming over into the metaphysical arts, and people are just as bad in this community. Okay? They are. Like, open your eyes. They're just as bad. Okay? I can't tell you how many times I've come across a psychic where I'm like, you've got no business dealing with people. Oh, no. Like, you're the one out there scaring people so that they keep coming back to you. That not all psychics are bad. George, I love you and appreciate you as a psychic. I think you're amazing. I think maybe you call yourself an intuitive. I forget. But yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still corruption within metaphysics, spirituality. People making spirituality like very commercialized, which, I don't know, like, again, you guys probably heard my story about like yoga classes in New York City were a freaking joke. They were a freaking joke. Like, I couldn't do it. They took all the serenity out of it for me with their pretentiousness, or, you know what I mean? Or, you know, people saying you're doing it. Okay. So in the metaphysical community, let's say you're coming from a religious background and you want to start exploring this. What I found is that a lot of people want to latch on to, okay, what's this? Just tell me what I'm supposed to believe. Like, how do we approach this? What's the whole big idea behind that? Now, wanting to learn the philosophy, the concepts, you know, all that stuff, that's one thing. Okay, and that's wonderful. You're learning. That's beautiful. But that's not what these people are doing. It's like they're a robot with their chip missing. And they are malfunctioning and saying, hurry up, please, someone reprogram me. I don't know how to be. So yeah, remember how those extra videos and how I can offer that other perspective if you're interested? Because I'm not one of those people. I'm not very PC. I've got no use for it. I don't think you should have any use for it either. There's an opinion. Now, be nice to one another, be loving and kind and respectful, and, you know, but this whole thing, like, people are just finding reasons to be mad. You know, that's all a part of this conditioning, this training. So for this week, it's about looking at that for yourself. Do you do that? Are you one of those people who wants to hold everybody accountable for how you're taking things? It's nobody's problem but yours. I know. It stinks. Because it's so much easier to blame someone else. It's so much easier, instead of learning yourself and what your true connection is to God. What is that unique, beautiful connection that you have with that higher power? Instead of exploring that for yourself, people are like, no, what's the appropriate thing for me to say to God? And I get this one, it's just an example. I get this all the time. How do I talk to the angels? Well, you talk to the angels like you would talk to me, or to your friends, or to your mom, or your dad, or whatever. You just talk to them. Now, some people out there, this is what I'm talking about, with the metaphysical community, they're like, oh no, there has to be this. Actually, where was it? And I'm not trying to, I know this is kind of mean, or it's going to sound mean, I'm not trying to diminish their process. If that's what they need in order to connect with angels, by all means do it. But like, I was reading something where you have to like have a certain color mat. What? Like a certain color mat, you're supposed to lay it in a certain direction on the ground with a certain candle color lit. And then, I got this out of a book. So you're supposed to, I guess, memorize 2 pages of an invocation. Who's going to do that? Ain't nobody going to do that. Nobody going to do that. You know what I do? Angels of love and light. And that's just me too. Like I say angels of love and light, just so there's no confusion about who I'm inviting in. And I just sit and I relax and I let it come on in. Okay. Now, again, some people might need more of the ceremony behind it. Okay. And they're loving this. They're loving this getting back to basics thing. Okay. So this is good. We're going to keep on with it. So if you need that mat, or it makes it extra special for you to be like, no, that's my Archangel Michael mat, because it's like an indigo blue or bluish purple or whatever, and you know, like I feel very protected, then do it. If it's for you and it helps you, that's beautiful. But to go so far as to be like, this is how it's done. I'm a little nervous putting this video out because tomorrow I'm going to Mind Body Spirit Festival in Denver. Someone's gonna watch this and like catch me and be like, I didn't like your video or whatever, or I wrote that book about the mats, how dare you. Like, I'll be like, oh dear, I'm sorry. I'm gonna hide behind my friend or run. I'll just run. I'll just run. It's Denver. I can hide somewhere. But you know, just think about that. Just be discerning about what you're taking in. And we're going through, how long is this? I can't even say. Oh dear, it's like 27 minutes. I don't even care. If you don't want to watch, you can unsubscribe or just not watch. I don't care. Like, I really don't, because we got to talk about this stuff. It can't always be, just tell me what the cards say. Hurry and tell me what the card. Look at you. Look at your energy. Look at that. That's what we're talking about. Okay. When you're feeling anxious and you're like, Michelle, will you just shut up and get on to it? Oh, you missed it. You better go back to the beginning, because these cards aren't even going to be anything for you until you heard everything we just said. Okay. You hear it, you take it in, let it sink in, integrate it. Okay. So we're going to be talking more about that. Don't trade one conditioning for another. Don't, you know, this whole like, how do I say this? This whole structure thing. I can't even imagine what my face looks like when I go back and watch this, because I'm just being like very real right now. Again, this would be a 3-hour video if I went and explained all the situations where I've seen someone where they think they're finding their salvation, but they're way off course because they're still looking for something outside of them. The big secret, there's no secret. Okay, that's the big secret. There is no secret. All right, it's already there within you. You just have to be willing to listen to it. Now, if you come back and be like, Michelle, this is a terrible video for promoting your readings. Again, I never started this. Yes, I sustain myself on my readings. Yes, things can get tight from month to month. Sure. You know, again, like anybody who does this kind of work. But I don't want to read for people who have desperation. I don't want to read for people who are either, like I said before, asking sort of the psychic questions. And please don't be hard on yourself. If you're kind of like not, you're like, well, I don't know how to do that. It's okay. You know, we'll work through it. It's no problem. But I think, you know, the people who are doing it, they're just going to automatically get ticked off about this video and go away. And it's fine. We have to do videos like this every once in a while, do a little house cleaning, right? Or I get people, you know, with the readings, they go completely the opposite way and they're trying so hard to say it right. You ought to read some of these emails I get. It, like they're doing their own incantation as they're at, and then I'm like at the bottom, I've like read for 5 minutes and I'm like, what is your question? What? And that's important to know too. If you're going to get an angel reading, you have to be clear. So as far as me putting myself out of business, again, I don't do readings like other people. It's not really, I am technically reading your energy, but it's more about counseling. You know, where are you? And if that's of value to you, I'll continue on doing it. If people don't need me anymore, I'll go off and do something else. Right? So, anything else on that, guys? Break your habits, guys. Break your habits. And this isn't to be argumentative or, you know what I'm saying? It's not to go out there and try to, like, I don't know, just make trouble or something like that. But just be discerning and ask yourself, is this the right path for me? Is this right? It's not, it doesn't mean that the person is wrong necessarily, unless you really come across somebody who's like a charlatan. But, you know, just start tuning in for yourselves. All right. So Magical Mermaids and Dolphins deck. I decided we're going to pull some cards. Doreen Virtue, of course, a crystal card, which I'm going to have to reach around for because I did not. Hold on one second. Hopefully I don't bump the camera because I forgot to grab that. And this is the Healing Crystal Oracle by Rochelle Sharman. All right. So let's see what we have going on here, guys. And I would invite you to read the comments this week with an open mind. Anybody who leaves a bad comment, you're just proving my point. You're proving exactly what I'm talking about. But observe how we function. You know, card reading shouldn't be like this. You shouldn't talk for a half hour first. I don't have time for this. This was boring. I didn't want to listen to you. You don't have to. So self-forgiveness. So it says, let go of old guilt and remember that you're God's perfect child. So if you're listening to everything that we've been saying here and you feel like, oh my gosh, I've been doing it wrong, I feel scolded or whatever, again, watch how you're taking things, okay? Ask yourself, is that the ego telling me that I'm a bad person or whatever? Or maybe this is a week that you just finally break that patterned thinking and you might go, wow, I have carried that guilt with me for so long. Maybe it's religious guilt, you know, or whatever. And what you're forgiving is probably allowing yourself to go so long without looking within and without seeing the light. So you don't have to hang on to that, guys. Okay. All right. Next card we have, stay optimistic. Okay. So there's going to be kind of a, you know, and then a breaking down probably. But I also feel like there's probably going to be some freedom in that for you as well. It says your dreams are coming true. Don't quit right before the miracle occurs. But again, you know, it says stay optimistic. Your dreams are coming true, but it comes first with, we keep saying this, and that's why we went through the whole half hour of talking about this. This is this kind of thing that you need to let go of. These are the things you got to get a clearer perspective on. You know, who are you giving your power to? Who are you allowing to run your life? Are you in charge of your life or somebody else? Right? So stay optimistic. Things are coming to fruition for you, but you got to change the thinking around it. Waves of prosperity, new abundance, and exciting opportunities wash over you now. How many people are out there getting excited? Okay. But again, I'm sorry, I have to keep pushing out my glasses. My goodness. You know, some of you, I'm going to keep saying this. If you think that what we just talked about was a big waste of time, this isn't going to happen for you. Good luck. Okay. But if you heard and you're willing, and you're going to explore that connection you have with God, and you're going to start seeing yourself as worthy. You're going to let go of the old patterning. You're not going to look for a new Messiah in a different religion or in a different philosophy. Okay, you're really going to start getting in touch with who you are. You're going to see how things are going to be turning around in your life, guys, probably in a really big way. So it might not happen just this week, but blessings abound. You just got to tune into them. All right. Mother healing. Here we go. As your feelings towards your mother heal, your desires manifest more rapidly and accurately. And you know what's interesting? When I pulled this out, I felt as a woman that there would be anger coming at me for saying the things that I said, because sometimes people are not used to a woman speaking out and saying such things. Yes, I have those clients. Yes, I have those viewers. You as a woman, you shouldn't be doing, okay. But anyway, this is saying, you know, get in touch with that divine feminine aspect of you. For some of you, it might literally on the surface be mother healing, but that could be, you know, something too. You know, what kind of patterning did you pick up about women from women? Now, the mother healing, again, you know, you have to sort of mother yourself. And are you doing that enough? Or some of you as mothers, okay, this is coming up too, you're overdoing it with your kid. Okay, you're spoiling your child so much that they're not going to take care of themselves ever. Okay, or yeah, okay. So some of you are a little imbalanced when it comes to motherhood. So I would be this kind of mom too if I was a mother. I would be like obsessed with my kids. But for some of you, it's creating this very unhealthy imbalance where you're not even able to be yourself anymore because your kids are just taking, like, they're the center of your world, or other things in your life are getting neglected because of it. So, I mean, whatever that might be. So be more aware, okay? Be more aware of how you're interacting with your children, or how you interact with your own mother, or even friends because even friends, they can have like that mothering kind of thing. I had a friend from a long time ago I'm thinking of. She was a little bit older than me, and so she tried to be my mom. And I was like, okay, no, you don't have to. Okay, I got this. Thank you and good night. Or, for some of you, I'm also thinking of an example. I may have given this example before, but I knew somebody, I was going to go to a birthday party, and this woman, even though it was completely inappropriate to do so, and I don't think she had to do, I don't really know her story, but she brings her baby to a bar, okay? Brought her baby to a bar and started bossing everybody around because, I don't know, I guess she thought she was the Holy Madonna or something. I don't know what her deal was, but she had this energy like she's given birth and therefore everybody must, cater to me, even though it was completely inappropriate that she brought a baby to a bar. But I've seen that many times. People get so honed in on their children that they don't even know when they're being rude to other people or inconsiderate because they just, they're just clamped down on their child. So that's another part of that sort of conditioning. Right? Like, I'm a good person if I'm a good mother, and a good mother means that I make my child the center of my world. You need to be balanced. You need to be balanced. Conversely, if you're a mother who, you haven't really bonded with your child, go back to the drawing board here. See what that is. Is there some block within you? Something, especially if the child is of a certain age. Look at who you were at that age. There could have been, God forbid, but like a traumatic event or something that's blocking you from bonding with your child at this age. So those are all the things that are coming up here. And of course you can work with Mother Mary. She will definitely help you. Jesus is in here to help you out. But across the board, there are a lot of people watching this, so it's going to be different for everybody. But that's definitely something for you to really start thinking about. Okay? Your children are precious. Of course they are. Like I said, I would be a totally obsessive mother. I know I would be. But just because I want my child to be with me at an establishment doesn't necessarily make it appropriate. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might not be a child-friendly environment, or it might not be safe for children to be there. Okay, so let's get a crystal card here. And then I shall move on to recording the April videos. More to come on that. Right here it is. Numite, healer. You heal by getting in touch with the truth. And the truth is not something that you're just regurgitating. Another example that I'm thinking of is how often, especially on my video, How I Met Archangel Gabriel, is one of those videos that I did way back when, okay, like when I first started my channel. And I get a lot of religious people who I think are just scouring the internet trying to find videos like that so they can talk about them. And people just come at me and they just quote the Bible. They're just quoting the Bible, quoting the Bible, quoting the Bible. Listen, I'm going to give it to you straight. Just because you know how to read and memorize does not mean that you're close to God. It does not mean that you understand God. It does not mean that you even understand His Word. It just means that for the people that reach out to me, this isn't everybody, but the people who reach out to me, they're so brainwashed. They're sleepwalking. They're sleepwalking and coming at me and trying to tell me about Jesus. You don't have to worry about me and Jesus, okay? I am tight with my brother. You don't need to worry about my connection to Jesus, okay? I knew about Jesus before anybody taught me about Jesus. I did not grow up in a religious household. I grew up knowing that Jesus existed. And when I did, again, we didn't go to church or anything like that. We weren't religious, but I was allowed to sign up for an after-school program, a weird thing that they did in a public school. again, very odd, where they had, it was almost like Sunday school, but it was on a Tuesday, and it was after school. And they would sit there and talk about Jesus, and I was like, it felt like I was missing him. Like I knew him so well that I was missing him. And there would even be things that these people would say about Jesus, and I would think in my head, he doesn't talk like that. And this was with no, no church upbringing or anything like that. So those people do not need to worry about my connection to Jesus or to God. Okay. So anyway, the healer in you, okay, a lot of people are denying that woman that left that comment, that nasty comment. Apparently in the reading, it came up that she was supposed to be a healer. Well, she's not going down that path, is she? She's given into her ego. She just wants her life to be summed up, and perhaps. And I think a lot of us, I think that's so indicative of how a lot of us react to things. Just make it nice and tidy. I'm so tired. And that's sort of an original wound, isn't it? The struggle, the learning, okay? We're tired. And when you're tired, you are going to start bickering at one another. You're going to be like, it's all your fault that I feel this way. But that's what needs to be healed. So we have to be our own healers first, okay? We need to be very grounded. For God's sake, don't be like flying off, and then you're just food for people who want to, siphon off of your energy. So heal yourself, sort of, see whether there are any kind of holes in your energy or where you're too open for people to come in and snatch a little bit of you, okay? But again, this is a message for a lot of people who incarnated and their intention was to be a healer. You can do that in many different forms. I say that all the time. Anyway, I say that all the time. And people still misinterpret it, or they don't take it seriously and they start going down a different path. Time to get right with yourselves, okay? Time to get right with God. Time to get right with, what are my true needs? What is my true connection? All that stuff that we've already talked about, okay? So, there we go. I think that's complete. I think we will leave it there. As always, I love you. Again, if you have a problem with this video, you are free to go. No one is holding you here. If you want to throw your negativity at me, this ain't my first rodeo, so good luck. Take your anger, go sit in the corner, suck your thumb, feel sorry for yourself. You're wasting your time trying to throw your negativity at me, okay? So just remember that as well. For everybody else, and that will be most of you who are hanging in with me, I know you're empowered too. So show your empowerment down below. Let us know who you are. All right, guys, I love you. Take care.